a minute ago, 2 minutes ago, but I didn't press any buttons. Nothing happened, but it just went like stop and stopped. So I hope anybody who was watching it a minute ago will come back to it, but I don't know if you can or you will. I don't really know how you find out about this. It's so frustrating to me because I don't know what happened. Like literally I pressed no buttons and all of a sudden it just went and it was like just done. Well, we'll learn about this. So now there's nobody here again, but that's all right. I'm not going to get discouraged because the reality is who's it going to hurt if it goes good or it don't go good or it gets busted up and somehow pause and stop for no reason when nobody touched any buttons. And then now I'm back and there's nobody there. Maybe I was getting a little too close to comfort. Maybe I shouldn't talk about Art Bell. I don't know. These are the magical things we can't really always understand. And that's okay. But there's things we can understand. And that is definitely the things that we're learning in this class. This class is called Elementary Night School. Elementary Night School. Elementary Night School. And as I was talking about in my previous live of tonight, which is all still one classroom session, even though apparently now it's going to be 2 videos, but whatever, that's fine. As I was explaining, this show is providing a very important service for today's very modern, very busy, hardworking preteens, ages 8 through 10, and they're in grades 3rd through 5th. And basically, it's the thing of like, oh, these kids, they have got to keep their day shift at the factory. If they have to take time off to go take 4th grade in the day at the normal school, they are going to lose day shift at the factory and they're get bumped back down to 3rd shift. Well, 3rd shift is like it's really takes a toll on the body, and especially when you're 9. So that's why I'm like, okay, look, listen, you can prove to your various entities, your divorce judge, your parole officer, whoever it is that's trying to, or if it's just you want to set an example for your own kids. Maybe everything's fine legally, but you're 10 years old and you've got a toddler at home. You just don't want them to think that you can also persevere and get through your 4th, 5th grade classes, even though you work double at the hospital. So I'm like, all right, come on in here. You can get your curriculum going. You can pass your equivalencies, and then that way, you can feel really good about yourself for one thing. So this is the authentic Arthur Fonzarelli from a show called Happy Days. And if you're tuning in internationally, I don't know if you'll know that show or that character, but you may have heard of someone called the Fonz. And he's like a dark haired man in a brown leather jacket. And he's usually standing by a bicycle, or not a bicycle, a motorcycle, because he was a mechanic. P.S. Arthur Fonzarelli is a mechanic. He can work on cars, trucks, motorcycles. It doesn't matter. He is a genius mechanic. His whole entire motorcycle got taken apart and then put back together in his apartment by him. It's it's a whole thing. But anyways, the Fonz, who was the coolest guy on the show, and by far, he was the coolest guy in the town. He was cool. He was just like as cool as could be. He had never actually finished high school. And he had a new nephew, and he wanted to prove to him that he was a real man and that real men can admit that there's something that they missed out on or that they haven't done that they should have. And so he said, I'm going to go to night school. I'm going to get my general equivalency diploma. And so in about 1981, when who was in 3rd grade at that time, saw him go to night school on TV. I told my mom, I want to go to night school. I didn't know they had night school. That's amazing. Oh, that would be so much better because I don't like to get up in the morning. And, oh, night school sounds great. And my mom was like, they don't have it for elementary school. And I was like, well, why wouldn't they? And she's like, because that's kids don't, they, that's just not how society is. And I was like, well, if they have night school for adults, they should have night school for kids. I like to be at nighttime more. And my mom was like, well, you can't. And so, flash, it's been 45 years since then. Hi, Ryan. Welcome. Thanks for joining Elementary Night School. Elementary Night School. Elementary Night School. And this is one of our mascots, this fellow right here. And he also says hello to Ryan and to everyone who is here. I love him. Anyways, so it's been 5 years since I was in 3rd grade. On Tuesday, you're going back to school, Ryan? Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so great. Has it been summertime from school right now? And then now school starts back up again? Yeah, it is August, isn't it? See, when I was in elementary school, it was always like, you never really went back to school until Labor Day, which Labor Day is usually almost always, I think it's always in September. So we never went back to school till September, but nowadays they do go back in August. So you're going back. All right. Well, perfect time to join the class, get a little leg up for the next year of school. I don't know if you feel comfortable telling me what grade you're in, but I will tell you this. Here at Elementary Night School, we're really focusing on the curriculum that applies for 3rd through 5th graders. But however, it's for people of all ages because you can always go back and remember things you learned before or learn something that you missed in the first place or learn something brand new that you never even learned before. Oh, Ryan, you're going into 3rd grade? Oh, perfect. Perfect for my students. And also hello to Tammy. Tammy, welcome to Elementary Night School. This guy says hi, and so do I. I'm your teacher, M, and we talk about a lot of things on this show. And one of the things we do is work on, Lauren, you're going into 5th grade? Oh, perfect. Well, this is a good brush up for you. And as we go along over the weeks, I will be getting up to the 5th grade in years. Nip. I don't know if everybody in chat can see this, but Nip the Gangster says, my teacher is named Jeffrey E. Should I be concerned? No, I don't think you should be concerned, actually, Nip, because they are not a currently threat to humans living on Earth anymore, I don't believe. The one that you're probably talking about. So you should be okay. How do you go live? Well, on YouTube, you just in the app, there's like the plus button when you would normally like upload something or like record a short or something. But if you scroll, if you scroll to the left, then it will have a live button and then you press live and then you're live. And then you just go through a few things and set it up. Oh, okay. I see. I'm listening to a couple people's messages. Tammy, you're going into 4th. Okay, so we're all in the right area here. Elora, hello. You guys are all welcome here. I see that some people aren't here now anymore now. But I don't really know because I think sometimes the little like thing that tells me how many people are in the classroom is a little behind because sometimes it'll say 0, but then a chat will come up. Elora, 50 subscribers for that. I'm not 100 what you mean, Tammy, but having 50 subscribers is great. I mean, it's a good feeling when you feel like people want to see what you're doing and look at your videos and stuff. So great job and congratulations on being number 2 top fan for today's classroom. I finally figured out what that meant last week when I did this, so that was funny. But yeah, anyways, it's interesting because um elementary night school, it's kind of jokey when I say that it's for third through fifth graders because I do it late at night. So even though I, as a third grader, did want to have night school for third grade, I they would have never had it. And so when I made this show, it was kind of jokey with my other adult friends of like, what if you could have elementary school at night? How awesome would that be? And so that was kind of like the joke all along, and how I learned about it from the Fonz on Happy Days, which is a TV program from a long time ago. Well, a long time ago when I was your age. Um, Oh, I see, Tammy. You have to have 50 subscribers in order to go live. I see what you mean. Yeah, actually, I do. Yeah, that is actually true. I think the reason why that's like that is because it takes a little bit more of the YouTube like bandwidth of the computer or their servers or something in order to support live streaming. And so they kind of like don't want everybody just going live by themselves, just like all across the whole entire platform, because it would be too much for um the system is better at handling traffic that is like pre-recorded than like currently being sent out live to everybody. So I think that's the reason, just so that it's not like you just join YouTube and then immediately you're just going live. But I'm not really sure because if I really am being honest, I don't know a ton about how YouTube works. But I will say, Tammy, that it took me a very long time to get any subscribers at all. And by most people's judgment, like I still don't really have much subscribers, but I do really enjoy watching the number go up. But also another thing to remember is that when you make a short, you're not actually going live because people can't like chat with you, but you are recording it live when you're making the short. You have the ability to go back and edit it and things and put, make a thumbnail for it and all the types of things that you want, but it is live in the moment. So if you think about making your shorts that way, making shorts could become some practice for you for if and when you reach the point where you do go live, then you'll feel more comfortable being on screen live. I have 160. Oh, wow, that's cool. Tammy, did you go in and subscribe to me? Because when I started my show tonight, I only had, I think, 158 or 9. So that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and it'll go up and down too. It does, it really does. And I've learned over the years that, like, you can't really get yourself too worried about that. You did, Tammy. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I really appreciate that. I appreciate everybody. And I will go back and subscribe to you when the show is over. And I'll subscribe especially since you subscribed to me. But let me go ahead really quick and make sure that I have your because if you don't have your subscriptions as public, then I won't be able to see that you're the person who subscribed to me. So I'm just going to really quick with a pencil scribble down your screen name so I can be sure to follow you. And Ryan, if you would like me to do that, I will also do that. Anybody who wants me to follow you from this, just let me know in the chat, because that way I'll write down your names so I can go back later and do it. But like I say, if you have your subscriptions private, which I recommend that you do, especially if you guys really are kids, I don't think you should have your subscriptions public. I think you should have as little public as possible if you really are kids, because it's actually very, very humongous world. And there's a lot of people who are not how they seem. And it can be bad. Okay, Ryan, good. I'm going to write yours down so I can subscribe to you too. And then if you go on live, I can watch your live too. especially if you announce it so I know when it's going to happen. Because once you guys do get to the point where you can go live, how it works, and believe me, this is only the second time I ever went live, ever. So I'm not an expert, but how it works is that you can schedule it so that way you can post about it ahead of time. And also, if you schedule it, then you put the the it'll say in somebody's feed, if they follow you, it'll say coming up, and there's a notify me button for your subscribers so they know when it starts. Tammy Lampasona, and it is the dog. Oh, oh, it's a dog picture. Yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah. Well, that's great. We love dogs here at elementary night school. Let me tell you that much, because I have two dogs. They're two of the mascots of the show. Two dogs, and I have this guy. And I have a cat, as you can see, her cat tree right there. But she's not in here right now. She's running around in the rest of the house. But yeah, so I mean, it's basically one of those things where it's like uh it's all about learning. How do I connect my surprises? I'm not 100 what you mean by that. How do I connect my surprises? That's a very interesting question I've never heard before. And I love it because that's what I say all the time, is that one of the best and most important things about life is having a surprise, because otherwise everything gets real boring. But surprises are great. Even sometimes a surprise that it doesn't seem too great, like you're like, this is bad news. Still, though, secretly there's a part of you that's like, what just happened? And it's like, it makes you feel more like alive or something. So I like that. How do I connect my surprises? I should go back in my life and think about things that have been surprised and try to see how they do connect, or to see what things I am surprised by. You know what I mean? Because if you're probably surprised by the same type of things over and over, and it might not be the same things that surprises someone else, because they may be already aware of that thing. They pick up on it sooner, so it doesn't surprise them, or whatever. That's really interesting. Okay, Tammy, you're on your grandma's phone because you can't watch YouTube. Is that because you're too young? Because if you're too young to be on YouTube, I don't want to encourage you to be on YouTube. I'm not interested in having children doing things they're not supposed to do. The whole point of elementary night school is absolutely to be learning about important information, to be learning the information that we need to live our lives, and the information that makes us the best person we can be and the most effective person we can be in our own lives. And as a child, if there's some kind of rules that you're supposed to be following, I'm going to tell you something. Most rules for children are there for very good reasons, which are good for the children, not just to be mean. Some rules are to be mean, and I'm not going to lie about that to your face. But a lot of rules for children that feel mean to the child are actually for the child, and it's because of things where a child wouldn't know that that thing was bad or that they shouldn't do it unless there was a rule. And then if they did it, it would be bad and it would be hurtful for them, or something bad could happen. So, oh, I see, Tammy. You said no because they grounded you. So you're still doing something you're not really supposed to do then, huh? By being on my classroom. Well, I don't know what to say about that, because I don't want to get you in trouble, and I don't want to contribute to you doing things that are going to keep you in trouble with your family. If you feel like sharing, it would be interesting to know what you were grounded for, and we could talk about um, whatever happened and see if there's ways that to avoid getting in that kind of trouble in the future, or ways to stop and think. I mean, one really important thing is, oh, you're at your aunt's. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I know. I mean, I was a kid. I understand. Sometimes it really does feel very arbitrary when people are um, telling you what to do, especially when you are a child. It feels like, why are you telling me not to do this or to do this? Like when I was a child, and that's another reason why I like to run this show, Elementary Night School. Elementary Night School, Elementary Night School, because for me, when I was a child and now, and every day from then till now, and probably every day the rest of my life, for me, it's a lot easier to get me to do something or to not do something if you explain it to me. If you explain to me why I should or shouldn't do that thing. And I'm going to give you one example. You like being at your aunt's house because you like making videos and your parents won't let you make videos. Okay. Well, I mean, if your parents don't let you make videos and your aunt is letting you make them, this is putting you in a very strange position, because now what's happening is you're going against your parents' rule, but your aunt is the one who's letting you do it, which means now you've got this sort of like weird secret with your aunt, and it's like against your parents' wishes. And that's never actually a good situation, even though it feels like you've got this partner. Like your aunt is like your partner in crime, like, I'll let you do it, sweetie. But the thing is that secrets always come out. There's never been a secret that stays a secret. Never, ever. Because that's not how secrets work. They are, a secret will always come out. And what could happen is that whenever or however it would come out to your parents that you had been making these videos while at your aunt's house, it's going to be it's going to be a lot worse of a situation, because of your aunt being the one who was letting you do it, because it will make your parents very upset with not just you, but especially also your aunt, because she's, I'm assuming, also an adult like your parents, unless your aunt is only like 2 years older than you. And that happens. Some people's aunts are like almost the same age as them because of the way their family is. But I just feel like you're playing with fire, Tammy, and I don't know if it's a great idea, because you really, when you're a kid, unless your parents are doing things that are harming you, actually harming you, not just making you upset, but like actually harming you and stuff like that, then like your parents want the best for you. And I have to imagine the reason your parents don't want you to make the videos is for your safety and your protection. And I think they're actually quite right about that. Because, again, as I told you, the internet is basically the whole world in your phone. The whole world is potentially able to see and access everything and anything that you're posting, especially when you make a video. And unfortunately, here at Elementary Night School, one of the things we do have to talk about sometimes is the fact that in the world, not everybody has your best interests in their mind. In the world, in fact, there's plenty of people who have their mind that they want to actually harm you. They want to actually do something that's detrimental towards you. And they're a stranger to you. And if it's on the internet, they could be anywhere, anywhere. They could be up the street or they could be across the globe. But either way, because you are a child, if it's true that you're a child, the things you're saying in this chat, which I have no reason not to believe you, then that means that some of the people on the internet who would talk to you on the internet or express the interest in the things that you're doing on the internet would not be people who are safe. And they could be people who could be extremely unsafe and dangerous. And so that has to be the main reason your parents have told you they don't want you to make the videos. So I would say this, Tammy, if you want to keep making the videos and breaking that rule and your aunt is letting you and everything, I would just tell you this. Please make sure that any video that you're making, that you make videos of things that aren't related, like aren't specific to you, or don't show like where you're at, or things about your private world. Like, don't show pictures of your house. Don't show pictures of your school. Don't show pictures of yourself, really, or videos of yourself. If you want to make videos, what you should really do is use a filter that makes your face way different and makes everything about you different, because you are a child. And unfortunately, adults aren't always safe for children. And I'm sure that is probably exactly what your parents also told you. So it's probably why I don't have anybody on my show right now, because you probably said, oh, see you, I don't need to be getting moralized to by someone who isn't my parents when my parents already did. But I just want to lift up and say that to every student of elementary night school, the adults who are the most likely to care the most about you are your parents. Now, I recognize fully that for many children and many adults, that's not actually true, and their parents don't actually care about them the most. But in most instances, that is true. And so, that being the case, it just feels better to make them happy, to make them feel proud and delighted with you as their child. Because I'll tell you this much, I am a professional comedian. I do comedy and I do stand-up comedy, and I go on stage and make jokes, and people laugh and it's fun, and I love when people laugh. It's so great. But I can tell you this much. The reason why I ever even became a comedian is because I love nothing more than my parents laugh. It's the best feeling ever, and I've been trying to get that feeling my whole life by trying to make them laugh my whole life. And so then once I started doing comedy, it was just like an extension of that. It was like, oh, yeah, it feels good when people laugh. It feels good when my folks laugh. And so then it was like, oh, it feels good when anybody laugh. And so like that. But even to this day, I would not trade any on-stage experience of the people laughing at my jokes than I would for when my mom or my dad is laughing at something I have said or done. It's like the best feeling. And that is kind of goes along with the idea of like choosing to not break their rules, even though it's something that you want to do, simply because it feels so good to make them proud of you and to make them look at you and say, look at this kid. Look at this kid we made. And guess what? You know what? Your parents feel that way about you your whole life. My mom will still be the one who always says to me, like, I'm proud of you. The things you do are important. Your ideas are good. The things you make are good. And don't feel like that's not true because it is. And, you know, that's just like anybody else could tell me those things and I would be like, thank you, that's awesome. But when my mom says it, it's just like, oh, yeah, she's right. And it feels so good that she loves me that much and cares and sees me as like someone that she likes or thinks is funny and likes to talk to. I talk to my mom every day. She lives in Michigan and I live in Los Angeles, so we're very far apart. But because we have cell phones, I'm able to talk to her every day, and I've been talking to her every day for the last several years. Um, it started during the pandemic, which, Tammy, I don't know. If you're in fourth grade, you probably don't really remember the pandemic too well because you were probably only in like not even school yet or kindergarten or something when the pandemic was happening. But that was a time when people felt very isolated and alone. And we were, a lot of us, alone and isolated because you couldn't do the things you normally did. For example, I couldn't do comedy. I couldn't go out and go on stage and do comedy because it wasn't safe. So at certain point, I was talking to my mom and she said, what if we just talked every evening? And I was like, I think that's a great idea. And so we've been doing that ever since then. And it just always feels so good to have her approval and to have her, like, I guess, blessing. You know how people, I don't know if you've ever heard people say, like, I give this my blessing, or like when somebody's going to get married and the father and the mother give their blessing for the man to marry the girl or whatever. But not girl, a man should not marry a girl. For the man to marry the woman. But so that's how I see that. I will say also that sometimes some parents aren't really like that and they don't really build you up and lift you up and tell you that you're doing great and that you're cool and stuff. And some parents that don't really lift you up that way still really love you just as much, but the way they show it is different. And then there are parents who just really are difficult people and difficult to have as parents. And as a child, you don't have a lot of choice on those things because of the way society works. It's difficult for a child to be the one who says, I don't want to stay with my parents. And so you just kind of have to make it work as you're growing. And then when you're an adult, you can reevaluate what your relationship is to your parents. You might not end up having the kind of relationship to your parents that I do as an adult if your parents didn't treat you well when you were a child. But all that being said, I really do think when it comes to the rules of parents for kids in elementary school, the rules are almost never there to harm you. It's about 1 out of 1,000 parents or less that would ever make rules that were set up designed to harm their children. The rules that parents make for children are usually based on something that they want to protect their child, to make their child safe, to make their child happy and healthy. And so definitely, if your parents don't want you to make videos online, that is the reason, is because they want you to be safe and healthy. It isn't because they don't want you to have fun or that they don't want you to blow up on internet and have 1,000 followers and get money like Mr. Beast, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not it. Your parents aren't like, we don't want you to have a chance. They want you to have a chance. They want you to have a chance to be safe, healthy, happy, and to go through your childhood as a child. Because let me tell you something. If you did, let's say, blow up on TikTok or on whatever, YouTube or Twitch or something like that, and you had like all these followers, and now you get like the brands and they send you money or they send you like video games or whatever it is, and like now you're kind of like starting to have these like, oh, I'm getting things for this and stuff. Well, I'll tell you something. Most people who started off making videos because it was fun and they making videos, and then all that stuff happens. Now, all this money stuff has to do with these videos they make. Well, now making the videos just turned into a job now. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Tammy and Ryan and every other kid that's on this, or any parents that are on this that has a kid. I'm going to tell you something, and it's very real. Don't try to have a job when you're a kid. Don't. Nobody should be encouraging a little kid to have a job or to worry about money or to try to have to get money or get famous or blow up on TikTok or something, because that's not what being a kid is for. Trust me, earlier on the earlier live stream, I started babysitting other people's kids outside my house for money when I was 10 years old. So I was in, like, it was the summer between fourth and fifth grade. That's when I started getting paid money from other people's parents to watch those kids. And I spent the next 2 or 3 summers spending the whole summer all day babysitting other kids. And that was me. I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, it I shouldn't have felt like I had to do that, but if I was going to have money to do things or have fun or buy things I wanted, I would have had to, because my family didn't really have like allowance or whatever. Like some people, their parents just give them like 10 bucks a week or whatever. My parents never were like that. They were like, if you need something, just ask us and stuff and we'll talk about it. So in order to have my own money, that's why I was like, oh, I'll babysit other kids and stuff. But when I look back on it, I feel frustrated because of the fact that that was the summers when I was 10, 11, and 12. And then every summer after that, I was working at like a different type job, not necessarily babysitting, but like the summer I was between 13, like I had turned 13, I was in like a work program for like disadvantaged kids. If your parents didn't make a lot of money, then like you could have this work job. And it was like I worked in offices. So, and then after that, after those jobs went out, then I started work at Kmart when I was 15. So it's like I really started working when I was 10 and really have never stopped basically. And so this is what I want to tell you about this videos thing and this becoming a TikTok famous and all that. All you're doing then is you're taking something that is fun for you and making it a job. And I guarantee you that, don't listen to people when they say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, you should love what you do, but that doesn't mean it's not work. Okay? The reason people get paid to do stuff is because it's stuff that they wouldn't otherwise do. That's why they got to be paid to do it. So making videos starts off, it's fun, you like doing it, you don't mind, and then when you get money for it, you're like, oh, even cooler, now I'm getting money for this, and I already also like it. Like, that's how I felt about comedy when I started getting more paid to do comedy sometimes. I was like, oh, this is amazing. But the reality is that, like, now comedy isn't my full-time job. It's not the main way how I pay for my life. So I don't actually have to, like, constantly be sending emails to try to get people to book me for their shows, and constantly going on YouTube and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a show. Can you come to my show? Blah blah blah. I'm gonna be blah blah blah." All this work that you have to do to keep that money flowing on the thing, when the thing itself is the fun part. The thing itself is the thing that you want to be doing. You don't really want to be doing all that other stuff. And so that's why I would say caution to you on the making of videos and all of that other stuff, because it's really easy to have a feeling, cuz like I remember